Hi friends, once again welcomes you back to the next part of our chapter, the Nationalism in Europe. First video already we have seen. The next session we are coming with another two more question answers. So in the previous video we have discussed that it is what the Frederick Sorio wants to depict through his picture. Then second we have discussed what is the difference between modern state and the nation state. And the third thing comes when the next page of the chapter turns, we come across certain glimpse on the French Revolution. We have very clearly discussed about the French Revolution in 9th standard. Very nicely you have discussed, and I hope you may be remembering some of the question answer in your mind, maybe about the French Revolution and our Louis XVI and the Revolution and Jacobins and everything, Robespierre and everything, maybe you may be remembering. Now, being in 10th standard, when we go through the first chapter, we can see there is a small portion is given of the French Revolution. We are moving towards this French Revolution. So, while we considering the French Revolution or while discussing the French Revolution, in this chapter there can be some questions can be asked. Very repeatedly asked questions, most commonly asked questions. Many question paper you take, you can find this question repeatedly asked, or these all are the questions repeatedly asked by the board. So very important, you have to notice this question. So first question can be, what steps did the French revolutionaries take to create a sense of collective identity among the French people? Or otherwise it can be asked in another way, analyze the measures and practices introduced by the French revolutionaries to create a sense of collective identity among the French people. So this question can be asked. I hope you understood the meaning of the question. While the French Revolution was going on, how French revolutionaries made the sense of collective identity, how they have made the unity among them, what all are the steps, what all are the things they have put forward in order to make the unity among all these people, what all are the steps or what all are the tricks they have made, how did they unite all the French people together in the revolution, what tricks they have used. So there are 5 to 6 steps are there. Very simple question, but it is very important question. The first thing, so keep in your mind, these all are the steps which are taken up by the French revolutionaries while the French Revolution was going on, in order to make the unity among the people, or in order to bring the people's mind towards this revolution, or to make the French nation. They have made, these revolutionaries introduced certain steps. The first step they have introduced the idea of la patrie, the fatherland, and the les citoyens. Two words you can see that it is la patrie and les citoyens. La patrie means fatherland, citoyen means the citizen. See, the French revolutionaries, while this revolution was going on, they wanted to make the people towards them, and they wanted to more people to attract the revolution and make overthrow the monarchy and make their own nation. You have seen in the 9th standard so many instead of National Assembly, Robespierre was killed, and another government and the direct reform of government, everything came. We have seen that it is. So how did these revolutionaries move the people? The first step they have introduced, that is the la patrie and les citoyens. These French revolutionaries tried to hijack the people emotionally. How did you hijack the people emotionally? See, they have come with the idea of la patrie, the fatherland. They have conveyed the message in such a way, my dear friends, or the people of France, you see that this is la patrie. France is your fatherland. Definitely, I am sure about that. It is, you will be very concerned about your father's property. Once you reach in the school or once you reach in the classes and everything, when you enter itself, I know how do you switch on the fan. I know how do you go after without switching off the AC or fan or anything, because why you are not least bothered about to switch on or switch off it, or why you are banging on this switch when you are entering in the school and banging, and you are very forcefully you are switching on. Why it is? Because it is not your father's property, it is school property, it is classes property. No, but they are telling that it is, if it is once you come back to your home from the school, once you reach in your home and everything, you can, you know how you are using your utilities in your home, how you switch on your fan, and how do you sit on the sofa. In the school desk and the benches, you will be stepping upon with the sandal by wearing the shoes and the sandal. I am asking you, will you climb upon your sofa with the shoes and the sandal? No, you will not. Because why you are not? Because it is my father's property. See, French revolutionaries came with hijacking, emotionally hijacking module, that it is, they have told France it is your father's property. Father's property means we have to respect it. We have to keep it up. So this is because my father's property, respect it. I have to keep it as my father's. So France means it is your father's land. And you are the citizen, les citoyen, you are the citizen. This is your father's land and you are being the citizen of that. That means you are the father's property and you are the son. I hope that you are understanding that it is the emotional attachment. How did they make? The first thing they have introduced this, the concept of la patrie and les citoyens, and they made the people to understand that it is, we all are French people, we all are from same father, or this France means this is the father's land, this is the land of you have to protect. If you are not protecting the father's property, then who will protect it? You are the supposed one. Emotionally, they attracted the people emotionally. By hearing itself, so many people attracted to the revolution. I want to protect my father's land. At any cost, I want to protect it. So they have come forward. That was the first step taken up by the French revolutionaries, that is la patrie and the les citoyens. The second point, they have come with a new French flag. They have introduced a new French flag. I have told you in the previous videos also, I have telling you, when the nation is becoming independent, an independent nation, that is the first sign they will be having a flag. So French revolutionaries introduced a new flag, tricolor flag for the France. Then they have decided that this is the flag. We want to make a nation, our own nation, so that it is, they have designed their own flag. So la patrie, les citoyens, and a tricolor flag, and a State General was decided to be elected by the active citizen. The third step which was taken by the French Revolutionary, they decided that a State General will be decided, or a State General will be elected by the active citizen. I take your attention towards the 9th standard. We have studied in 1791 when they have passed, then the National Assembly in the Tennis Code, when they have passed when they have enacted the new constitution, the citizens in the country was divided into two, active and passive. I hope you remember. At the same time, a State General also you have to recollect from the 9th standard. A State General, do you remember? A State General means it was the political body from the each sect, or it is the political body of representatives from the each estate. Clearly, if I say, if you remember that it is when the Louis XVI has called for the Estate General, 300 people, 300 representatives from the noble, 300 representatives from the clergy, and 600 representatives from the common. That meeting is known as the Estate General. It is the political body of the representative from the different estates. So now French revolutionaries decided that the Estate General will be elected by only active citizens. That is the third step which they have put forward. in order to make the unity among the people, or to bring the unity among the French revolutionaries, that they have decided that a state general will be decided, or a state general will be elected by the active citizens only. Then a centralized administrative system was put up. They have brought the fourth ideology, that is a centralized administrative system was put up. Because the country was scattered here and there was no demarcation, there was no clear boundary, there is no assigned king, or so many kings and kingdoms are there, so many are ruling the country. Now they wanted to remove all this. They want a centralized administrative system, a centralized power, one king ruling the entire, or one constitution, or one government. They wanted that. So they have come with the concept of a centralized government and centralized administrative system. Third one, internal custom duties and dues were abolished, and a uniform system of weights and measures. Centralized, then they wanted to internal customs or dues were abolished. So when you read this sentence, internal custom and duties and the dues were abolished, you have to remember, or you have to come across the history at that time, that it is while a customer or while a businessman is moving from one place to another place with his goods, a businessman who is moving with his goods to one place to, or one city to another city, he needs to go across so many tariff barriers. That means there were so many places he needs to pay taxes, custom duties he need to pay. We can say simply, sir, toll booths, we can see that one after another we are finding so many toll booths. Like that it is, whenever a merchant is moving with his goods from one place to another place, or one city to another city, he needs to go through so many different tax booths. So many places there was so many custom barriers. So many places he needs to pay the tax. Now the French Revolutionary decided that we need to remove all these custom barriers. Let us have a free movement of goods. They have come with this ideology. And the uniform system of weights and measures, that is another funny thing at that time Europe. The weighing and measuring system was entirely different. Suppose that you are taking 50 bags of wheat from here, or 50 kg of wheat from here to another city, then when you reach there, they will be saying that it is only 45 kg. Then you will be saying 45 kg, it is 50. Our own measuring system, it is only 45. Then you are taking that for 50 again to another place, they will be saying it is only 30 kg. Different measuring system was there. Can you imagine? This was the custom at that time. Now, French Revolutionary wanted a unified system of weighing and measuring system. Everywhere equal one. They wanted it. They have put for the policy for that. And last one, the French language was given most important. They have given importance to the French language. They have invoked the people of France. They have asked them to you speak only French language. You develop our French language. You propagate our language. Give more importance to our language. And they have made it. They force the people to talk, and they force the people to convey the messages in French, and the French language has given a prior importance to in the society. So these all are the way, 5 to 6 points are only, these all are the way. Very important question from this chapter, very important question from this chapter, which all are the steps taken up by the French revolutionaries in order to introduce a sense of collective identity. What all are steps they have taken? Simple thing, simply you can keep in your mind through different some words or some points, or you can remember it. First one, you have to remember the idea of La Patrie and Les Citoyens. Second, tricolor flag. Third, a state general will be elected only by active citizens, and centralized administrative system, and uniform system of weighing and measures, and the French language has given the importance. These all are the 5 points. Once you keep the 5 points with you, it will be easy for you. So after having the French Revolution and the related policies of the French revolutionaries, how did they make the national feeling among the people? The next topic we will be moving. Next great personality after the French Revolution, that is the Napoleon Bonaparte. I hope you remember Napoleon Bonaparte. The stories in our 9th standard, we have ended up with the story of Napoleon Bonaparte. When the Napoleon Bonaparte came and captured the France, we have ended up the French Revolution in 9th standard. We have said goodbye to 9th standard and we have reached. Now we are opening up once again the Napoleon Bonaparte story. What happened afterwards? After he took the charge in, or after he captured France, what all are the changes? What did he do? So that is coming in our topic. Okay, first we have discussed about the Frederick Sorio, the nation state and the modern state, and the French Revolution. What all are steps introduced by the French revolutionaries in order to make the sense of collective identity we have discussed. Now in our next page it comes the Napoleon Bonaparte. After Napoleon Bonaparte came into power, he has made so many changes in the society. Even if he was the hero in Europe and more than majority of the part of the Europe was under his feet, so he has made so many changes. Now when we consider the topic of Napoleon Bonaparte, which all are the expected question, you can see that it is, what changes did Napoleon introduce to make administrative system more efficient in the territories ruled by him? Or what do you mean by Napoleonic Code or Civil Code of 1804? Explain any 5 provisions of the Napoleon Civil Code of 1804. My dear friends, I am telling you once again, it is very important question answers, that it is Napoleon. It can be asked in different way. What all are the changes introduced by Napoleon? What do you mean by Civil Code of 1804? What do you mean by Napoleonic Code? Remember, very simple. That is the next topic, the entry of Napoleon and the answer or the question related to Napoleon. So once we ask the question is, what do you mean by Napoleonic Code or Civil Code of 1804, or what all are the changes introduced by Napoleon? Very 5 or 6 points are there, very simple question answer and very interesting, and you can remember also very fast. In such a way I have arranged what all are things he has introduced. After he has taken up the charge of France, he has made certain changes in France. Which all are the changes he has introduced? He abolished privileges of birth. First thing he has introduced, Civil Code of 1804 or Napoleonic Code, which includes the first point, he has abolished the privileges of birth. You remember that the privileges of birth was there in the French Revolution, which we have discussed. Privileges of birth. Not everyone in the society was giving the tax. Who was paying the tax? Only the common people only were. The nobles and the clergies were not at all paying any type of taxes. Why they were not paying any taxes? Because they were having the privileges of birth. They have taken birth in a noble and the clergy family. They are not supposed to pay the tax. Who is supposed to pay the tax? These common people, these peasants and farmers, those who are struggling to live. Those who are struggling to get a one-day meal, they have to pay. We are having the privilege of birth. We are not supposed to pay. So the first thing, when the Napoleon Bonaparte became the king or he captured the France, he has removed these privileges of birth. Whether you are a noble or clergy or common or rich or poor or whatever maybe you are not having any privilege. Everyone has to pay the tax. Noble, clergy, common, everyone should pay the tax to the government. There is no privileges of birth. See, first step, the privileges of birth is abolished. Second step, he established equality before the law and the right to property. He established the equality before the law. Everyone, we are enjoying now the equality before the law. We all are equal, whether the Prime Minister of India or President of India, MLA or MP or doctor or engineer or common man, businessman or a shopkeeper or a farmer, whoever may be, everyone treated equally in front of the law. That time, it was not like that. Noble and clergy was something, and everything applied to common. They were having some privileges. The law was not equally applied to them. So many considerations were given to the noble and clergy. The poor people were treated. So now Napoleon Bonaparte is in front of the law, everyone is equal. Whether you are a noble or a clergy or a common, whoever may be, law is applicable to everyone equally. There is no difference. That is a wonderful decision taken by Napoleon Bonaparte II. And right to property he has introduced. Before that, only the nobles and clergy, the higher class people were having the right to have their own property. The common people are these poor peasants and everything. They were not having the right to property. They were not having property only. Now, Napoleon Bonaparte, everybody in this country, everybody under me has the right to property. I will protect your property. I am ready to protect. I am having the right to have the property. So, everybody has the right to have your own property. That is the third thing. Third one, simplified the administrative division. He has simplified the he has made a system of administration. With the confusing system and everything he has made, he has simplified the administrative system. You learn like that only. He simplified the administrative divisions. He abolished the feudal system. That was another worst thing in the European country, feudal system. The landlords will be there, the huge landlord will be having hectares and hectares of land. Poor peasants are working under him. And these people, when they have an emergency in their life, they might have taken the loan from him or rented land from him. And these people are not able to pay rent back because of the high interest. And they are not allowed to go out of their land without completing the dues. So they were under serfdom. They were just like a slave working under these feudal lords. Napoleon Bonaparte has told that stop this. This feudalism, this system itself you stop. Let them have their own property, their own have land, and let them have their own wage, or while they were what the work they are doing, you give the wages to them. This system of feudalism he has abolished. And he freed the peasants from the serfdom and manorial dues. So all the peasants were under these landlords. Those who were working like a slaves, they were known as it is known as the serfdom. I am just like a slave under the landlords. Why? Because I have taken the loan from him. For when there was an emergency in my life, or when there is a financial emergency happen, I approached my landlord and I asked him money, and I have taken the land in rent. And in order to cultivate in that land, I have taken the money from the money lender, and I am not able to pay the rent back, and I am not able to pay the interest of the money lender. I am not able to pay the loan which I have taken from the landlord. So each and every year the high interest, it is keep on increasing. The principal amount plus my interest is keep on increasing. My mere wages cannot fulfill this interest, or cannot be given this interest plus this principal amount. So I am just like a slave. I am a slave. I am under serfdom. I am supposed to work under him. How much the time he is expecting, or whatever the time he is asking to me. Here he decided that there will no serfdom. No one is going to be under the serfdom, or no one will be like slaves or anything. All the dues which are to be paid to the landlords, everything cancelled. And he has cancelled all the dues. And guild restrictions were removed. Next point is the guild restrictions, where guild means an association or an organization based on the occupation. Simple we can say that the trade unions. At present time, we can say the trade union. At that time, the people were organized together in the name of their occupation, under their occupation. These the people, those who were having the same occupation, they have organized themselves and they were having some organization. During the time of Robespierre and during the time of National Assembly and during the time of this Louis XVI and everything, were restricted. No one was allowed to make the group or organization. But our Napoleon Bonaparte came and he removed that restriction. That means now you can make your own organization and you can make your own things, or your own organization or trade group or anything under your occupation, no problem, no restrictions. You can unite together. You can make your own organizations. So guild restrictions were removed. and he standardized weights and measures. See, there was another big problem in the previous slide we have discussed. French revolutionaries were asking for a standardized weights and measures. That means because the weighing and measuring system was different from one place to another place, it was a very big problem in the economic transaction. It was a big problem in the trade. So because of that, merchants were not at all ready to have any business or trade. Business and trade were stopped. Now Napoleon decided to have a standardized weights and measures. Weighing and measuring system gets standardized. And common a national currency. He decided to have a national currency in France. See, these all are the major points which comes under what do you mean by a civil code of 1804? What do you mean by Napoleonic code? Or the question can be asked, what all are the changes introduced by Napoleon? Very simple, very important. That it is the first point you will be remembering. He has abolished the privileges of birth. Second, he established the equality before the law and the right to property. Third, he simplified the administrative divisions, abolished the feudal system. He freed peasants from the serfdom and manorial dues. Guild restrictions were removed, standardized weights and measures, and decided to have a common national currency. My dear friends, very detailedly we have discussed the two question answers in this video. That you remember, first one we have discussed which all are the steps taken up by the French revolutionaries in order to make a sense of collective identity among themselves. Second thing, what do you mean by civil code of 1804, or what do you mean by Napoleonic code, or which all are the changes introduced by Napoleon in France. So I hope you have enjoyed it. We will be coming with the next one.